Okay. Hi to everyone who is joining us. This is another interview in my Women Wellness series. These are candid conversations that I'm having with female professionals who have a heart to serve others. And I use this time to talk a little bit about what it is that they do, who they support, and what resources they might have available for you to explore. I'm Britt Reuter, and I've earned a Master's of Science in Human Nutrition from the University of Bridgeport. I'm also a Certified Nutrition Specialist candidate, and my approach to supporting clients is informed by functional medicine. I run an online virtual clinic from my home in the Boston area, and if you want to learn more about me and what it is that I do, you can visit my website, brittreuter.com, or find me on Facebook or Instagram at NutritionBrit. Today, my guest is my friend and, funnily enough, my former primary care provider, Tara Woodland. Tara is a family nurse practitioner who put her career on hold in 2013 to stay home and raise her son. She had come to realize that she needed more. That's why she decided to align herself with Beautycounter, whose mission is, one by one, we are leading a movement to a future where all beauty is clean beauty. We are powered by people, and our collective mission is to get safer products into the hands of everyone. Formulate, advocate, and educate. That's our motto for creating products that truly perform while holding ourselves to unparalleled standards of safety. Why? It's really this simple. Beauty should be good for you. For Tara, her decision to align herself with Beautycounter was because she saw it as so much more than just selling. It was a way to help educate people on how to be healthier in not only personal care products, but all areas of life. Welcome, Tara. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited too. So let's get started by having you tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and maybe share some extra insight into the journey that led you where you are today.
Yeah, so as you already mentioned, I was a family nurse practitioner from about 2009 to 2013. And through that time, I'm telling this because this is kind of the insipidus of kind of what led me into more of this kind of natural holistic living. My husband was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome and went Western medicine, went through the gamut of tests, and nothing was found, which is hence the diagnosis of IBS, and was put on a medication called amitriptyline, which has a whole host of side effects and really just a Band-Aid for a problem that, just is not the best. So we've always been the type of people that are like, what can we do to help ourselves? And so he went through this whole journey of kind of learning more about gut issues. And this was back in, like I said, about 2009. So at that time, 2010, about that time, like functional medicine wasn't heard of. Like it was kind of a different time for sure. And so we fell into paleo, which again, at that time really no one had hardly heard of it. There was just a couple books, maybe a couple cookbooks out there. No bloggers really existed. And so we started down that journey, and basically he healed his issues by himself through our diet. And so that really kind of sparked my interest in kind of healthier living. So as I was practicing, even though I was Western medicine trained, I really tried to help my patients through healthier living options. So if someone came in with a problem, I wouldn't just throw a medication at them from the beginning. Like I would try to do things through diet and different arenas. And so I was really kind of self-taught at that point. And so then that started that journey. And when my son was born in 2013, I realized quickly through maternity leave, I couldn't go back to work. I had to stay home, wanted to stay home and raise him. But then also quickly realized that I was not a good stay-at-home mom. I needed something more for myself. And so I first started, my husband and I own a CrossFit gym. We've owned it for almost 6 years now. Well, actually 6 years. Yesterday was our first official workout in the gym. Yeah, 6 years ago. So I started coaching one of the classes. I attained my certification prior to leaving my job. But so I started coaching one of the classes just to fill in a void of my identity. And then when he was 8 months old, one of my good friends that I'd met through CrossFit had come to me and said, "Hey, have you heard about Beautycounter?" And I hadn't. It was only about a year old at that time. And I really didn't care about the product. I'm not a product junkie. I didn't really care about makeup or skincare. But I loved everything in terms of the health and education piece of it. And so that's what kind of sparked that interest. And honestly, it took me a while to kind of get rolling because I didn't want to be the icky person selling makeup. But I saw something more. And as you said about our mission, it's so much more than just selling. It's the education, it's the advocacy. And so that kind of catapulted me, building off of what I already did and knew in terms of healthier living and that, and helped me kind of spur into more education for myself and self-learning to really help people.
Wow, that's really powerful. And I feel like, yeah. Well, I feel like as someone who has followed you the past couple of years on social media, you can really tell the personal conviction that you have and, just your, conviction. This is real life to you. This is how you live your life. And, it really comes through in the way that you communicate that message.
Yeah. I mean, I do. I think it's who I am. It's what I do. I fully embrace, and it's my life in all aspects. And I think that's really what I want people to understand is that, this isn't about, as cliche as it is, it's not about perfection. It's about doing better every single day and really wanting to, and not beating yourself up for the choices you made, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. It's always wanting to do better than yesterday. Because as similarly to you, I do believe it all matters. I believe what we're putting on our skin, what we're putting in our mouths, what's in our environment, it does impact our health greatly. And we're in control of a lot of things. So I want to help people take that power and be their own advocates.
Yeah, take that power. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what does a day in the life of Tara look like as far as your health routine goes?
Yeah, I will say I'll kind of build on this statement.
Okay.
I'm kind of a lazy person in that sense. I'm very simple. And some things I'm very good at being very routine in terms of washing my face every night before bed. I never miss that ever. But then there's other things in terms of my routine of, kind of the healthier living that sometimes now that I have 2 kids, they're my focus, they're my emphasis. So you better believe they get all their supplements and vitamins every single day. And then sometimes I'm like, shoot, I've been forgetting to take this one. So every day I'll brush my teeth. That never gets missed. But then, my mornings will sometimes be sometimes a bulletproof coffee with, grass-fed butter and collagen. And sometimes it's just black coffee because I'm lazy and I don't want to. But yeah, I mean, we start with, a good kind of healthy breakfast. We tried some intermittent fasting for a while, which was a great, kind of thing to play around with. But I quickly realized, again, with 2 kids and 1 kid being home with me, I wasn't eating enough. I was like, oh shoot, it's 1:00 and I forgot to, I haven't ate lunch yet. And so it was just I wasn't eating enough. But yeah, so it's a lot of my morning, it's very basic. It's just kind of the eating and then lunch and then, the dinner. But then at nighttime, the supplements kind of come in and those get interspersed in terms of are we coming down with a cold? Then I'll boost things up a little bit. Or is it winter or what we're kind of dealing with as a family. But really, yeah, it's kind of a basic kind of survival mode some days.
Yeah. I mean, so overall, a wellness focused lifestyle, but the way it manifests every day could be drastically different.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we hit the basics. Every day we get our vitamin C, we get our vitamin D, our magnesium, Elijah will get his probiotics, sometimes L-glutamine, we'll get the basic things every day as a family. But yeah, some days I'm oops, we forgot to do the fermented cod liver oil or we forgot to do the minerals or whatever. But yeah, so it just kind of depends. I'm not super obsessed with things, and I try to keep it very simple because that just is what works for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't that kind of negate some of the benefits, if you made healthy living to be, stressful or something rigid, maybe then you're depleting your body of all those vitamins that you're taking because now you're driving yourself into chronic stress.
Well, I think that's, and that is something we might get to in a little bit just based on that. But I mean, I think that's a lot of people's battle, it's where do I start? How do I start this? And it's overwhelming. And financially it's overwhelming for people. And so it's like, yeah, how, where do you want to go? So I try to be the person that is relatable in a sense that, this isn't about the perfection. As I said, it's really just about doing the best you can and not beating yourself up. I mean, I still got Ziploc baggies in my cupboard because I have all my rezips and I have all my stasher bags, but man, sometimes I just need a good old plastic Ziploc baggie, to throw some marbles in or something. So it's like, I get it. Like you do the best you can. And I always say to people, I'm someone that I want to give people information and they get to do with it as they wish. But I never want someone to come back to me in 5 years and say, oh man, if only someone would have told me that X, Y, or Z wasn't my best option, I would have changed it. Versus, well, someone told me X, Y, or Z isn't my best option, but I'm choosing to do it anyways because this is what fits in my life and is part of where I'm at right now. That's what I really want for people.
Yeah, more information is better. I'm definitely an advocate of that. More better information too.
Yeah. Yeah. Much better.
Yeah. More much better information. It's my new tagline.
Well, that's like Lucas has this shirt from Tango Charlie, which is not like your best, like,
right.
They're funny, but there's some inappropriate things, but it's like,
we'll try not to associate that permanently with your brand.
Do gooder than yesterday or gooder than yesterday. So it's just, laugh.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's a great perspective to keep.
Yeah, right.
So I know you and your husband, you're big healthy foodies. So I've got to know, what is one thing in your pantry or your fridge that you can't live without? And then since you're big on clean personal care products, can you also tell us what your must-have products are in your makeup bag?
So pantry, man, that one's a tough one. I think collagen will probably come up in. It's so cliche and it's probably, if anyone knows me and watches this, they're like, yeah, I called that one. Like they could have told me.
I was going to say, if she doesn't say collagen, I'm going to tell her that she should have said collagen.
It's true. Like, so Lucas for a long time would roll his eyes because I'm like, oh, I'm making these muffins and we're going to throw a couple scoops of collagen in. Yeah. Oh, I'm making this soup and I'm just going to throw a scoop of collagen in. Like collagen goes into almost everything because it just is a good, like, I'm of the mindset of like, well, first I will say I definitely eat things that have no nutritional value and they're just pure joy.
Right.
Like sometimes I just want a gluten-filled bagel that has no, like, it just is what it is. It's going to make my blood sugar spike and then come crashing down and I'm going to feel horrible, but it was so good to eat. But for the most part, like what we do eat they are things that have nutritional value. So if they don't come with it, like a baking mix or something, I'm going to add things to it, like chia seeds or flaxseed, flax meal or, collagen or whatever else I can sneak into there to give it a little oomph because that's just what I do.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then in terms of personal care products, again, I will fall back on that whole I'm lazy and a very simple girl. So like a cleanser, and that rotates through depending on kind of my mood because I have everything at my grasp for products. So I kind of play around with things and depending on what I want to try. And I am not a good lotion person. So I love like the Countermatch serum. I love the basicness of that and a good eye cream. The Countermatch eye cream is my go-to. And that's basically and the overnight resurfacing peel. Yeah, those are my go-tos. And then I'm a simple makeup girl. Like I don't even wear foundation. I throw some mascara, eyebrow, blush, concealer, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You have such a streamlined routine, like just in and out.
Well, and dry shampoo like that.
Oh yeah, of course.
That saves my life. Like I think I'm down to washing my hair twice a week these days.
Wow.
Just because it's just, I don't want to spend time doing it.
I know. I think about that sometimes. My husband doesn't understand because obviously, maybe guys' shower experience is totally different than girls. But like sometimes I'm like, I don't have it in me to get in the shower.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to feel like I have to shave and then I have to dry my hair when I get out. And then I got, and it's just like, I don't want to do it. So I'm totally about the shampoo.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not so much the showering as the after effect. Like
that's true.
My hair, like that. So, which is why, like, it was one day I was showering. I usually shower at night. I showered, woke up in the morning, my hair was dry, and it was like a Sunday. We weren't going anywhere at all. We were staying home all day, and I was curling my hair. And Lucas is like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, no, you don't understand. I'm like, I'm going to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes max curling my hair right now.
Yep.
But then I don't have to wash it for 3 more days.
Yep.
Because of it being curled. Like, it does better. And I'm like, so I'm playing the long game here.
It's an investment.
Yeah, right? And he's like, I don't understand you women.
Yeah. Get out of the bathroom.
Yeah, right.
That's so funny. Yeah. No, there's a big gap there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's say that someone is watching this who is maybe feeling like a little bit overwhelmed about making safer product choices. It's something that they've heard that they should do and they want to do it, but they're just unclear about where it should start. Where do you think that someone like that should start? What's the first step?
Yeah. I remember, this is backtracking a little bit. I remember, gosh, this was probably 3 months ago now, maybe a little longer. My time kind of gets away from me. I asked in my Instagram stories, and this was spurred by someone that I followed that followed me, and we've interacted, sharing a product or talking about something in our stories that was blatantly not safe.
Yeah.
And it really got me thinking. It's happened before. It wasn't just the first time. It's definitely not the last time. It happens often-ish. And I was just thinking, why do people do this? Like, I know they listen to me. I know they see my stuff. I know that they hear what I say, but why are they choosing to still use, this product or these things? And so I asked in my stories, I was like, this is me coming from a place that I really just want to understand. This isn't me being judgmental. I want to help understand why these choices are still being made, even though different things. So I asked this, and many people were like, money, just not understanding that, why it matters. And there were another host of issues, but the kind of just not knowing where to start question was kind of a big one. And just not knowing what to choose. And so one of the things I always tell people, I obviously represent Beautycounter, and I'm part of that company and advocate for, their products and love what we have. Do I think it's the end all be all of safer beauty? Absolutely not. There's some really great products out there and companies that do a really great job as well. But what I will say in terms of what we do is they don't have the advocacy. They don't have, quite the safety ingredient selection process, the standards that we have. They're doing better, but I will say, as far as I know, and the last time I checked, we kind of set the gold standard. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of safer options out there. So I always want people to know that I'm here to help. I realize that our price points sometimes aren't affordable for a lot of people. And so I want to be able to help people find safer options that are a little bit more reasonable at times. But that being said, like, people sometimes don't know where to start. And so when I'm doing kind of a talk for people, I usually start with, I'm someone, again, always coming from a simple, lazy person that doesn't want, 5 million face creams and like thousands of, products sitting in my cupboard. I want simplicity. So I look at the person and say, what do you want? Like, what are you using right now? Are you looking for something more, or do you just want to replace what you have? So that's where I start, because I don't want to come in and someone's like, well, I'm good with just a face wash, a lotion, and an eye cream. Right. And I come in and I'm like, well, you need a toner and a serum and, all these things, and they don't know what to do with it. And maybe they buy it and it sits in their cupboard and then they throw it away because it expires. Yeah. So I try to meet the person. So that's kind of one thing I find out. Are you trying to replace? Are you trying to add? Where are you at? Then I look at and ask them, always think about the things that cover the biggest surface area. Yeah. So body lotions, things that sit on your skin all day long, or things that you use every day. So if someone's like, well, I use this mascara that probably isn't the safest, doesn't irritate my eyes, but it has carbon black in it, it has some other ingredients, but I use it like once every 3 months. Like, I just don't wear mascara. I only wear it if my husband and I go out, which is never. So I'm like, is that really where money's best spent? Probably not. Like, one time of mascara that isn't the safer option isn't going to be the biggest bang for your buck. Look at the face cream that you're using every single day, or the lipstick or the chapstick that you use all the time, that you're probably consuming some of it because you lick your lips or drink or eat. So that's how I think of it. And then I think of it as one product at a time. So as people use things and empty a bottle, they, replace it with something safer so that, they can make that switch and it just be more manageable, because it is overwhelming for a lot of people. And I think that mindset of like, okay, it doesn't have to be an complete overhaul at once. Some people do. Some people go home or, and they just like take a garbage bag and like clear out their cupboard, and that's fine. For those that don't want to do that, can't afford it, don't want to do it, it's that one product at a time, looking at, kind of what they're using and making that swap as they run out of things, or, kind of the big offenders, using the EWG that you've talked about before in some of your videos and whatnot, to kind of help guide them a little bit. What are the big offenders? What are some of the nasty ones that we really need to get rid of right away because they could be affecting hormones and whatnot. So that's kind of that strategy for me, for people.
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me, so I wrote, just to like shamelessly plug a blog that I wrote here. It reminds me of a blog post that I wrote about impact versus effort, and how if you like plot points on it, like, using those as like, the graph axes, that you can, help yourself to make decisions, because you should be doing things that have the biggest impact with the lowest amount of effort. Yep. So if there's something that you're not using all the time, like you're saying, like the, woman using mascara, maybe, once in a blue moon, even though that's a toxic product, the impact, of making that swap isn't going to be that great, because you didn't have that high of an exposure, in the first place. And, maybe mascara costs, $30, so that's a high amount of effort. So it's like, well, don't do that because it's high effort and, low impact. But, for someone who is using, some sort of like gross, toxic body wash, like every day, in the shower, and you look at maybe like a Dr. Bronner's or, something like that, where it's like, it's, relatively affordable, lasts a long time, it's like you're having a high impact and a low effort. And so it just makes sense to like do those kind of things. And so I love like the strategy that you baked into that, because it's like, it doesn't have to be all at once. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, getting a little bit better all the time and figuring out really where to focus your attention.
Yeah. I think it's fun. I've done this a few times unintentionally, but like I've been at home and I kind of look around and I just look at our house and I'm like, wow, like we've done some big things. Like we've overhauled some major things through the years. And it's funny if we've like gone to an Airbnb and we go into their home, into that home. And it's like, you look under the cupboard and they still have some, countertop cleaners that, I pitched years ago.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes you go, wow, like this has been a long journey, but through time, I've made some big impact and made some big changes, small changes that ultimately became a big change and a big impact. So,
yeah. I know that you, like, for example, have tried to reduce like the use of plastic in your home. And I mean, plastic is so pervasive, so ubiquitous. And so it can be really challenging to try to get all of those sources like out. But it's like, if you're packing a lunch every day for you or your kids and you're putting in plastic containers, like that's a huge, level of impact versus like you're saying, maybe occasionally you'll put, some crafts into like a Ziploc, like, okay, well, you're not going to eat the crafts, I hope. So maybe not as big of an impact there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, and it that kind of like yesterday was Earth Day. And so Stasher Bag had some great sales and different, greener, safer companies in general were having some great deals yesterday. So I shared them in my group for people to kind of take advantage of that. Those things are expensive. I mean, to replace, but you got to look long-term too, where you're not having, once you buy a Stasher Bag, that thing lasts for a long time. You're not having to buy more boxes of Ziplocs. And so there's a little more effort. You have to clean it and wash it and, take care of it, but instead of just throwing it away. But yeah, I mean, we do. I think the hardest change for me and the biggest one that I'm probably, this might be silly, the most proud of is paper towels. So I was horrible. Like Lucas could tell you, my husband could tell you, like I would like grab a paper towel and wipe the counter and like leave it. And I'd have like 10 paper towels just sitting probably around the kitchen. You know, and so I was like, this is horrible. Like it's bad, you know, not necessarily for our health. I mean, of course, the paper towels were probably treated in bleach and whatever else, but you know, it was just bad for the environment. It wasn't good for all of that. And so I bought I've bought in a couple different ones. Sorry, I thought I turned off all my apps to make noises at me. But I thought you know, I was like, well, I'm gonna buy a couple different brands of, you know, different things. And so I bought some reusable paper towels, and I was like, if I can achieve this, it's going to be amazing. And I did. Like we still have paper towels because sometimes like I don't want to clean up chicken juice with like that. It just grosses me out, and I just can't do it. So we still have them, but I've cut down my use on those like dramatically. And so I like give myself a pat on the back quite often around the kitchen because I'm like,
That's so funny. Yeah, there's always like that one stronghold, right? Where it's like when you get through there, it's like you're really feeling on top of the world.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this has just been so much fun, and I do really value the time that we get to spend together, Tara. Where can people who are watching this or listening to this learn more about you and maybe connect?
Yeah. So I try to share things pretty openly. I have different platforms that I share things just because I've got people in different walks of life that are on certain things and others, but probably the best ways, I do have a blog, which I haven't written much on lately. It was kind of when I started it, it was one of my places to really just dump information because I was sharing a lot like in my Facebook group that I have, which is, I'll kind of tell you the name there here in a second. My blog is really just to dump information. So someone's like, hey, what do you recommend for, you know, whatever, X, Y, or Z, I can just send them the link. So I don't have to like retype it or go find it. Super easy. So that's my TK Wellness and Beauty is the name of my blog, tkwellnessandbeauty.com. So super simple. And then Instagram, I'm on there, and this is where it's like, sorry, this is a lot of like, I wish I could just give you one place.
Yeah.
I'm not so good at that. But the one that I use is Health, Wellness, and Safer Beauty on Instagram. And that's where I put a lot of posts, just informational posts. And then my other account's Tara.Woodland. And I use that primarily in my stories where I talk about things. Like my posts are more family, fitness kind of things. Cause like I said, we own a CrossFit gym, but my stories in that account is where I kind of share kind of the bulk of things, which do transfer over to my Facebook private page or my personal page. But then I also have a Facebook group.
Yes, you're very active on the social.
I am, because like I said, I've had a lot of people like in just different areas. And my Facebook group's called Health, Wellness, and Safer Beauty as well. And that's probably the bulk of information comes into there for people. And like a lot of my customers are in there, but just anyone. And I try to share a lot of information, not just Beautycounter, but that is where I share like the deals and kind of specials for customers. But they get to see a lot of other stuff that I get to talk about, and it's a very safe and warm place. But
yes, absolutely. So I'll make sure to link to all of those in the transcript. Maybe I'll have them fit just to make sure that I catch them all. But no, I'll make sure that all of those are detailed out in the transcript that I'll be posting to my blog. So if anybody's watching this and he wants to make sure that they're going to the right place, then just head to the blog and you'll be able to access the link that way. But yes, this has been just wonderful, Tara. Thank you so much again for being on here. I really appreciate it.
Wow. Thanks for having me. It was fun. I always love kind of sharing my journey. It's always funny to kind of talk through it too, where you're just like, wow, like that's been quite a process.
Awesome. And I have come a long way.
Like another pat on the back for that one.
Yeah, exactly. No, it truly is like a growth process. And, maybe, that's kind of, I think like what you and I like to do is, just kind of like mentor people like who are walking a similar journey to us, but maybe a couple steps behind. And, that way we can kind of reach back and be like, hey, I've been there, like, keep going, like it's going to get better. And, and I think that that's really powerful.
Yeah. So many times I've heard people ask, well, how do you inspire people? Like, how do you motivate? And I'm like, well, it's not really like, it's not something that you can be like, okay, I'm going to motivate you to do.
Motivation at you.
Yeah, like it's more of just living the life and being positive. And yeah, like things are hard. Like it's not all rainbows and unicorns. Like don't get me wrong, but I see the bigger picture, and I know, like I said, I think when it always comes down to things for us meaning my husband and I and our family, like we're fighters. Like we aren't going to go down without a fight. Meaning, you know, if you tell me something's going on, I'm going to try to fix that, because I'm not someone who sit back and let it happen. Or, you know, it comes back to like the old days of practicing medicine, where I was like, I'm not just going to give you a pill to fix this problem when I know there's things you can do and you're able to do it and will do it to help yourself. Now, at the end of the day, if it fails miserably and it doesn't work, then we can always go back to the, you know, the beginning and again. But I want people to ultimately, no matter what it is, whether it be personal care products or, you know, just their lives in general, be their own advocates and speak up for themselves and question everything. I think is kind of my big thing. Like, don't just take, you know, face value for what it is. So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, it's a great way to lead, Tara, you know, leading by example, like leading, you know, from behind in a way, like supporting and encouraging people. So, you know, I just really appreciate, you know, all of the, you know, information and education and support really that you offer through those platforms.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thanks for always, you know, you being such a great resource. Like, I love that we've reconnected through the years, and I love having you as a resource, because there's so many times where I'm like, I'm just going to ask Britt. Like, I can look this up. I can do the research, but
she might
it's
know.
so nice. Yeah, but it's so nice to have people in your corner that that know it better than you and can just, you know, be that person. So I appreciate it.
We're helping each other expand in that way.
You bet.
All right. Thanks again, Tara.
You're welcome.